So Borderlands 3 is out, and everyone I know is loving it. Every single time I log onto Xbox Live, all of my friends are playing it, and all I see is that level 50 Beastmaster, level 30 Beastmaster. They're all playing Beastmaster for some reason. I have not played it yet because I'm finishing up my Gears 5 playthrough, but before I started Gears 5, I played through Borderlands 2 just so I can get reminded of what the game was like, and so I can get an idea of what I was in for, and to see what I hoped would be improved in the third game. So here's going to be a list of things about the game that I loved and what I hope they improve, and I hope you dig it. Anyway, let's get started. So the first thing I noticed when I booted up Borderlands 2 was the fact that there were the 4 original characters plus 2 downloadable characters, and I chose Krieg because I wanted a melee type player. Of course, I wanted to play as a psycho. Next thing I noticed was the great sense of humor. I had forgotten about it because I never finished it the first time I played it through when it came out, 7 years ago, because of, life. I really started enjoying it. I liked the character design, I loved the creatures, I loved all the different environments that you could play in. You've got snow, desert, tech areas, there's so much stuff in the game, and I really hope that there is a bigger variety of characters and levels in the new one. I know that they have these different planets, but I don't know much about them. Now, something I did realize was that the mission structures, especially for the side quests, kind of suck. They tend to be go someplace, kill someone, and then come back and check in and get your reward, and usually the reward wasn't worth the time that you put into it. I also noticed that the UI, at the time it was great, but it's definitely dated now, especially when it comes to how you manage your inventory and stuff. And the next thing I noticed is that I am kind of into one of two play styles. I like either sitting back in the cut and doing a lot of sniping, or I like being right up in their face and just smashing everything. So I'm hoping in the new game that there are 2 characters that can kind of do that. Again, I haven't looked up much on the game because I don't want to spoil it. I just want to go in fresh. I love getting in the vehicles and driving around and just blowing stuff up. I still love the gunplay in the game, though it does feel a little disembodied. It's a little floaty, but I just love the feel of, shooting people in the face and watching their heads explode, or hearing them talk smack back to you. The bosses were pretty fun. They tend to be kind of stationary. There's not a lot of variety to the mechanics of the bosses, or even the creatures that you are playing against. They kind of just come straight at you, so you usually just, strafe around them over and over until they're dead. I hope they really fix that in the third game. I still love the feeling of opening a chest and all these weapons come out and you maybe get something really sweet. I gotta be honest though, most of the gear that I got in the game that was really good wasn't through the chest. It was normally from a boss or something like that. And one time I got a random loot drop for this really good shotgun, but most of the time my weapons were just okay. I really hope they change up the variety of weapons and the mechanics of the weapons and give them more of a distinct feel. I mean, they do have some pretty great reload animations and stuff like that, so you could tell they took a lot of care in the designs. I just hope it's a little better. I still love the sniping. I still love being able to move while shooting down range, and I tend to be pretty accurate with it, so I really enjoy that aspect of the gunplay. Again, the bosses, they're fun to fight against, but they tend to be pretty easy. They have a certain weak spot that's pretty well noticeable, and you just keep shooting at that. And depending on the type of weapon you have, you can just smoke them pretty quickly. I really loved playing as Krieg and just going through all the levels and murdering everybody I ran into with his talent, which is basically like a berserker mode. So I actually did finish the game. I went all the way through it. I just didn't play a little bit of it to be reminded of it. And I gotta be honest, the big fight at the end against Jack, who was obviously one of the best video game bad guys of all time, was pretty underwhelming. I polished him off pretty quick. And the same thing with the big monster, the warrior at the end. I just kept shooting him in that huge weak spot and that was it. Again, I hope that, a lot of this stuff isn't as much of a letdown. I mean, the game was still fun. I still really enjoyed it. It's still a classic. It's still one of the best looter shooters ever made. And I really enjoyed the ending of the game where you got to see that there were a bunch more vaults out there. Now, if I had finished this game 7 years ago and saw that and I just now finally got a sequel, I'd be pretty agitated. So those are my thoughts on Borderlands 2 and why I am now excited to play Borderlands 3, because from what I've heard from my friends, it's even better. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.